Welcome to Forest Chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode, we're talking about Chris Smith, the flying painter. Chris started flying around 1986 and painting around 1994. Welcome to Forest Chat, Chris.
Oh, thanks for having us. Glad to be here.
Great to have you on the show, Chris. You get into all sorts of things, Chris, that look very interesting and exciting. So, what is it that you do as the flying painter?
It all started when I was 13. I was a young teenager growing up in a small town in WA called Beverley. Yeah, I seen the gliders go up one day. I said, I've got to do this. And one thing led to another, and went down there one day and met with the members and went for a flight, and that got me hooked. I ended up joining the club there. And when I was 15, I eventually went through all my training early, because you can only go solo in gliders when you're 15. And yes, I went solo at 15, continued gliding at Beverley for a few years. So we moved to Tamworth in New South Wales and joined another gliding club over there called Lake Keep It. I finished off my high schooling years over there, finished year 12. Yeah, just continued gliding up until I was around, 18, 19. In between that, I got me powered pilot's license in Tamworth. That was out at Tamworth Airport and a company called Tam Air. Went solo in a Cessna 152. Gliding, I suggest to any young people out there that gliding's a great place to start your aviation journey, as it teaches so much about the fundamentals of flying, and is a really good grounding to start off in gliding before you, say, go to powered aircraft. I think it's a good idea, and a lot of people have taken that path to do it that way. I've recently...
It's also a more approachable from a financial perspective, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially someone young wanting to get into aviation. It's definitely a great way to start.
And when you were doing your club flying, were you getting into competitions or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I haven't taken competition too seriously, but I have done personal long distance flights. I've done a 300-kilometre flight in a glider. I've done a 500-kilometre flight in a glider. Last year we did a bit over 300 Ks. I'm just getting back into it after a big break, gliding. So I bought a glider last year, and that's based up in Beverley. And my little aircraft, my powered aircraft's in Bunbury, in the hangar in Bunbury. So to answer your question, yeah, we do some long flights in gliders. Probably the longest flight done out of Western Australia last year was nearly 800 kilometres. And basically, that a flight like that would take you, 7-8 hours to complete. So you can be in the air on a good summer's day. You can be in the air all day if you want to be. You've got enough thermal sources and cloud streeting to keep you airborne. And if you don't make it back, you just land in a paddock. And hopefully it's a good paddock choice. And you can either get towed out with an aircraft if the paddock's long enough and it's suitable. And if it's not suitable, you have to pull the glider apart and put it in a trailer.
So you mentioned there about thermals and cloud streaking. So what's a thermal?
Yeah, thermal sources, mainly if it's a blue day and you've got no cloud streeting, is thermal sources, something that'll generate heat off the ground. So you've got rising... So we thermal in rising air. So granite, rocky outcrops over farmhouses, or there can be multiple thermal sources, dark paddocks. And then cloud streeting is if you get cumulus and you just follow the cumulus cloud, usually on the sunny side of the cumulus, you've got an updraft on one side of the cumulus and a downdraft on the other side. So you kind of get in the right position under the cloud and it kind of sucks you up and you gain altitude that way. Some thermals can be really weak and you're kind of in survival mode just to stay airborne. Especially when you're cross country, you want to get home. So sometimes you've got to, if you're low, you've got to got to keep working at it until you get a bit higher. But some thermals can be over 1,000. You can go up over 1,000 feet per minute. Yeah,
So that's the rate of rise
right.
that you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get it over 1,000 feet a minute. Yeah, yeah,
So the whole concept of gliding is that you're flying along in
mm,
a fixed wing aircraft,
yeah.
and the aircraft normally it would be going down to maintain its momentum
That's right. Yeah,
and speed,
yeah,
but then because the air is rising, it actually lifts you up.
yeah. You generally turn in a thermal to stay in the core of it. There's techniques to get the center of the thermal. So when you hit the strongest part, you kind of straighten up and then you give it a few seconds, then you turn again. Then eventually you get into the center of the thermal, and then you've got constant lift all the way around.
You've got effectively a column of air going up.
A column
Yeah.
of air, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to stay in that column of air. By doing those techniques, straightening up in the strongest bit and then recentering that way, you can maintain the staying in the core of the thermal, more or less.
That's a fascinating concept to be able to do that. And it's been
Yeah.
done for more than a century, isn't it? So pretty impressive that you can actually be in a heavier than air vehicle that gets
Yeah.
lifted by the air
Yeah, it's
and you
quite
can do
incredible. Yeah.
and the flights that you do, like you say, staying up all day in
Yeah.
summer with the right conditions.
That's right.
If you do land out, you talked about getting towed out by that'll be by another aeroplane,
Yes.
or dismantling the glider and popping it in a trailer. Which I
In a
gather,
trailer, yeah.
if you buy a glider, you buy a trailer. Is that how it works?
Yeah, yeah, all the gliders have got trailers that come with them.
What about the painting side?
The painting side, I started the business pre-COVID, probably 8 years ago. I did a lot of work up north, fly in, fly out before I started my business here in Bunbury. I just wanted to be home. I just got a bit over being away from family and stuff like that. So I got my act together and I started the painting business down here. I thought, what am I going to call it? And I thought I'd put me two passions together and just call it the Flying Painter. So here we are 8 years later, and the business has grown and we're doing well. Done some great projects over the 8 years. We do a lot of repaints. Either people moving in and moving out of their house. We go in, make it new again. We've done a lot of commercial work, chicken treats, red roosters. We've done other commercial work around town. Yeah, so there's the commercial side and the domestic side, residential side. So we do a bit of everything. So yeah, it's been good. And to start with, I bring over a few guys that were in the same boat as me up north, just had enough. So I brought them on board, and we've still got one that's working for us. And I worked with Marshall up north for many years, and yeah, he's still with us.
Well, that's great to have those people sticking with it. That's wonderful. And then the Flying Painter, is there a combination?
Yes, there is well, we don't put paint in the aircraft, put it that way. But we have flown out to do quotes. We've just recently flew out to Querriting in the wheat belt, and we did ended up painting two farmhouses out there. And the farmer, Sean Powell, has an airstrip out on his farm. So I flew in there one day. I landed. He took me to the two farmhouses to quote them up, and then flew back to Bunbury. Yeah, we got the job in the next couple of weeks, and we obviously drove out there and started the jobs. So also flown to Wagen, Margaret River to do jobs and do quoting. So the plane gets utilised in the business, but more so for recreational purposes and getting to Beverley to do me gliding as well. So we used a powered aircraft a fair bit.
That's good news.
Yeah.
So, Chris, what does it take you to be the Flying Painter?
Good question. Well, like I said, I've been painting all my life since 1994. It's just something, I don't know anything else really, but I'm good at it and we do a good job. And then just the passion I have with the aviation as well, it all ties into each other, and it just makes, especially getting out to these regional places where I do get a few jobs now and again, it's just more convenient to jump in the aircraft and fly there instead of driving hours and hours and hours just to quote up a job. So it all works together, and no, I love it. I just love flying, and yeah, I love what I do.
Real passion there for it. I
Yes.
know, I know I used to do business to business sales, and I had every 6 weeks I'd be up to the goldfields, and always thought it'd be much nicer to fly than to drive around.
Oh, definitely.
Never got to do it, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely on the mind, something you think about when you're sitting there in the car for hours and hours.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You started flying pretty early,
Yeah.
and you've done a lot of it. So there's probably things that make you good at flying that
Yeah.
you don't even you nowadays you take for granted. You don't even realise that they're things that somebody might need for going flying.
I wouldn't say for granted because aviation is quite disciplined and you've got to be on the ball all the time. So there's checklists we have to go through, there's maintenance we have to perform. It's quite complex. We've got to service my aircraft every 25 hours, and then every 12 months it's got to have a full inspection by a proper aircraft engineer. And but as I said, you've got to plan your day. You look at the weather the night before. You look at all the NOTAMs, notice to airmen. You look at plotting your path for the day and making sure everything's you're ticking the boxes. Make sure the weather's right. So there's a bit of plan. I've done several big trips to say the Nullarbor, flown to South Australia, up to Carnarvon, and those kind of trips, especially in a small plane, take a bit of planning. And I don't like rushing things. I like it to do a methodical plan and make sure everything's ready to go. So yeah, there is a lot of work and planning that goes into these trips. So yeah.
So planning comes around weather, and there'll be the logistics, especially if you're going out to like the Nullarbor or something like that.
Oh
Right?
yeah, yeah, for sure. When I did these long trips, we got because I've only got a 85-litre fuel tank in my aircraft. So we ended up getting a aviation approved fuel bladder into the passenger seat so I can increase my endurance. So basically with that fuel bladder I can fly. Oh, you can get well past Esperance, but usually when I'm flying east, I drop into Esperance anyway. But you can definitely get it past the border from Bunbury to the border for sure with my fuel capacity. Yeah. So that bladder, the fuel bladder, helped me out on a few trips. So you're not constantly landing somewhere and refueling. I can just try and get to where I want to go, basically, without having to stop.
Bit like having a long range fuel tank in the car.
That's right. Yeah,
Same sort of concept, isn't it?
that's right.
And what about on the painting side, Chris? What is it about you that makes you a good painter?
Well, like I said, started in '94, did my apprenticeship. Then I joined a company. Well, I worked for a few companies in Perth, and then I actually went over east again and worked for a company called Program Maintenance for a while. They're Australia wide. And then I've been up north, I've been exposed to the mines and doing BHP and Rio Tinto housing. Also done state government housing as well, up in Carnarvon and here in Bunbury at one stage. So, yeah, the whole spectrum really. And then we ended up starting the Flying Painter. So we've had that good grounding in experience from being up north, working for the mining companies, doing state housing, and then obviously working over east and working with program, and then eventually coming back to WA and settling down, and actually got married and met me wife in Tamworth while I was over there. So, and then we had our first child over there, Lara. We had our second child in Bunbury, Bree. So yeah, been pretty much here most of my life, but I have spent many years in New South Wales as well. So bit of toing and froing, but we call WA home now, and yeah, we love it in Bunbury in the southwest.
Definitely, it's a wonderful place down here. I
Mm.
moved to Australind a couple of years ago. Definitely
Yeah,
been very good for us. Yes.
yeah, it is a great place.
What about the jobs that you've done? Has there been a job that was unusual?
Oh,
Tell us
there's
about.
always jobs. There's always jobs that are challenging. We've had a pretty good run, I reckon. We've been very fortunate that we've got good guys working with me, and like I said, we've got one that's been with me since up working up north with Marshall, and they all do a great job. And yeah, there's challenging jobs like logistics wise. How are we going to tackle it? And what scaffolds do we need? What EWPs do we need? How are we going to get this bit? How are we going to access this? Or it's mainly access is a big problem with a painting project, especially if you've got something difficult or high or those kind of elements that you look at in regards to a painting project. So that's pretty normal for a painter to deal with, but you always sort it out. There's always a way around it, and you get the job done.
Bit of ingenuity going on there,
That's
thinking on
right.
your feet and
Yes.
problem solving.
Yeah.
We've heard what it takes, Chris, to be the flying painter. We'll have a break now, and after the break, we'll have a look at what it means. We've had a look at what it takes, Chris, to be the flying painter. Now, let's have a look at what it means. Chris, what does it mean to you, your family, or the community that you can be the flying painter?
I think it means a lot. It means gaining people's trust when you're painting their houses. And we've worked for a lot of happy, lovely people in the Bunbury and Southwest. We rank number one on Google. Our reviews are really good. And I think it's a testament to our business that we're getting good feedback. People like what we're doing and we do it well. So I think that's the main thing, to keep everyone happy and dish out quality work and make everyone's happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was looking online at some of the things that you've posted up recently, and there was a house you had to do a lot of patching up on, and
Yes.
the pictures at the end, there was no telling that there would ever been a problem with it.
Well, that's our specialty. That's what we're good at. We've had some really bad houses that we've had to make good, and that's one of our specialties. If you throw something bad at us, we can make it look good. That last one that you did mention, that was a rental, and yeah, they had some, unfortunately had some bad tenants, but yeah, the owner was wrapped with the end result, so it was all good.
Yeah, so in that case, there was value as well in what you delivered.
Oh, definitely. It was, you couldn't have moved in there without that work being undertaken because it was that bad. But yeah, he's very, very happy with the outcome, and now he can move more tenants in.
It keeps the houses full. We need everyone at
That's
the
it.
moment, don't we?
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah. And what about for your family?
Oh, it's a no-brainer. Like I said, after working up north for all those years, over 10 years, and coming back here and starting the business, got more time at home and more time with family and the girls and that. It's just heaps better. So I personally, I don't want to put anyone off working up north, but no, I'd never go back up north again, and I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing down here in Bunbury in the southwest and putting all my energy into the flying painter.
It's an amazing difference, isn't it, between the fly in, fly out
Yeah.
mentality and the working out of your home effectively mentality.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's yeah, it does get to you after a while, but definitely heaps better down here running your own show, and you got more freedom, and yeah, it's just a better way of life, I think.
In amongst all of that, you also went from being employed to self-employed, yeah?
That's right. Yeah.
So how did that play out for you? What were the...
Oh, the transition. It took a while. Took a while to get used to, but I did. I had to do business management and all that to get me painter's registration through the building commission, and there's all these hoops you got to jump through to satisfy them that you're a competent businessman. And make sure you're of sound character because you're going into people's homes. So the Building Commission in WA asks for a extensive criminal history check. They ask for your business management credentials. They ask you, well, obviously your trade certificate, your all your qualifications, and you bundle all this information up. You present it to the Building Commission, and then you become a registered painter in Western Australia. So yeah, a lot of people think anyone can paint, but no, you have to be a registered painter in WA. There is jurisdictions. It's basically the jurisdiction for painting in WA is from Kalbarri out to Kalgoorlie and around to Esperance. So within that boundary, you have to be a licensed contractor through the Building Commission to undertake any work over $1,000. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you got to do to get your edgo, obviously. But I think it's more consumer protection for people, especially in the more built up areas.
Yeah, everyone thinks that they can go and do the painting, but taking it on as a business is a different kettle
Yeah,
of fish, isn't it? So
that's right.
certainly painting's not alone in that needing to
Mm,
have licenses. If you're a
mm,
builder, you've got to have a license, and
yeah,
plumber and an electrician and all those sorts of things.
yeah,
So it's at a similar place in the
yeah,
framework of society, isn't it?
yeah, that's right. It's basically in WA. It's builders, plumbers, painters, electricians. Yeah.
Even carpet layers, is that right?
No, I don't think carpet layers are in there or tilers, but yeah, but people are surprised painters are in that list. But yes, we're a trade that needs a license.
And Chris, what does it mean that you're able to go and do your gliding and your flying?
Oh, it's like just a passion I've always had since a young teenager, and now we can use this experience and the aircraft that we have to go out and quote where we can and fly into these places. And I'll also use it not just for business, but mainly for recreation because it's something I'm passionate about. And yeah, I just love aviation in general.
It is a special game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit like having a sport, I
Mm.
would imagine.
Well, yes, it is. Gliding is classified as a sport because there are competitions flying competitions that we do, mainly speed over distance. So the faster you go around a course, the more points you get. So usually do 300 kilometre distance and 500 kilometre distance tasks, and it's all on time. So the quicker you can get around it, some people average 100 in a glider, probably 100 kilometres per hour over a task or something like that. So it is a sport. They run national competitions and state competitions every year, and like I said, it's a good grounding for young people to get into aviation, and then if they want to, you know, start their power journey, it's definitely a great place to start.
Yeah, you've got all the basics under your belt at that point, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it teaches you a lot.
What sort of things does it teach you?
It teaches you the basic fundamentals of flying, and especially, I hate to say it, but if you get an engine failure and you're flying a powered aircraft, if you've had gliding experience, you can get, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be a better glider pilot than most people that have never done gliding before. And you're in a powered aircraft and have an engine failure, you know what to look out for. Paddocks and what the glide ratio, what the glide angle is going to be to get into this paddock, or stuff like that. I think it gives you that edge on other pilots that have never done gliding before. If you roll it into a powered aircraft situation, it definitely makes you a better pilot, I think. Definitely.
You always have to be thinking about how cleanly you are flying in order to get the most out of it and
That's
to,
right.
to have the most efficient flight, isn't it? And when you're efficient, you lose less
Mm,
altitude.
that's right. Yeah. Yep. You can bring it back to the best glide speed. And then if you don't do all these things, you'll just use up time. You want as much time as you can to assess the situation and decide what you're going to do. So, yeah, time is of the essence.
It's sort of like the opposite of golf.
Mm. Yeah,
With golf, the fewer strokes the better you are, and
yeah,
with gliding, the longer you're out there, the better you are.
yeah.
So we've heard about some of the good things that being the flying painter does for Chris. We'll have a break now, and after the break, we'll have a look at how you do it. We've had a look at what it means that Chris can be the flying painter. Now, let's have a look at how you do it. Chris, if somebody was going to start gliding, how would they go about that?
Just approach one of the 3 clubs in WA, and there's many across Australia. You just have to go to each state's got a gliding association, and our association's the West Australian Gliding Association. And they've got a list of clubs there that you can approach. And seeing I was a Beverley member in the past and just coming back to it now, I decided to go back to Beverley. There's one in Narrogin and one in Cunderdin. So there's 3 sites you can fly from, and they're all great clubs with a good membership base and a good fleet of aircraft. There's club aircraft there you can use, club gliders, and they own all their own aircraft and tow planes. There's private gliders at each club as well. And to get into it, you just approach the club, go for a trial instructional flight with an instructor. They'll take you up more or less. It's basically a joy flight. See if you like it, and then you can join the club after that. And the membership fees are quite reasonable, and the flights and the aero tows up are quite good compared to the general aviation sector. So like I said, it's a good place to start, and they're most welcoming out there, and we've got really good instructors out there that'll get you on your way, and you'll love it.
There's clearly a practical element to learning how to fly the glider. Is there also a theoretical?
Yeah, there's a syllabus like everything else. There's a syllabus you got to go through. So start off with the basics. Go through to spin recoveries and then circuit training, and then end up going for your first solo flight. And then after that, there's navigation. Then you get into cross country and flying all over the countryside. So there's all different stages to go through. So it doesn't happen overnight, but your progression is steady, and you get rewarded at each phase you go through. It's quite rewarding.
There's the reward of actually achieving it, I would imagine, and also there's the...
Oh, you get your wings when you go solo, and obviously it's a really good, like I said, a really good start to your aviation. So I love it. So, and you can get hooked, so be careful.
Yes, adrenaline is the drug, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it's just it's if you're into that kind of thing, it's definitely it's amazing. Yeah.
Well, you also get the view as well, don't you?
Oh, lovely view, especially this time of year when you've got all that canola out in the wheat belt, so you can see beautiful, yellow paddocks, and it's a good time of year. This time of year to go gliding, but our main season's in the summer when it's nice and warm and we can go a longer distance.
Because of the generation
the
of thermals all around the place, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. What if someone wanted to get into the painting game?
There's a couple of pathways available to young people at the moment. There's obviously the traditional apprenticeship. I think that's been reduced. It used to be 5 years. I think it's like 3 now, because they're short. The government decided the tradesman shortage, so they reduced that down. And there's also a pathway called recognition of prior learning, where, say, a mature person, say, or for example, say he's 20 something or 20, mid 20s, that want to get into a trade, never did an apprenticeship. You can do 5 years on the job. If your employer's happy to sign you off after 5 years, then you can go and get qualified that way and get your Cert 3 in painting and decorating instead of doing a traditional apprenticeship. But doing that pathway is obviously a couple of years longer, but you don't have to go to TAFE for anything. So, there's 2 pathways, the recognition of prior learning or the traditional apprenticeship.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for being on Forest Chat. All Forest.chat listeners wish you all the best with your future endeavours.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. Been wonderful having you on and hearing about the flying painter and the two elements that put all of that together.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been a great time. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. You've been listening to Forest.chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode we've been talking with Chris Smith about being the flying painter. Remember, there are 4 ways to get involved with Forest.chat. Share the domain Forest.chat with your friends and family and people you meet. When you sign up for emails, you get advance notice of the episodes. Listen to the episodes at forest.chat/episodes. If you do something interesting, book an interview at forest.chat/interview. If you want to support a small business, go to forest.chat/advert. I'm looking forward to joining you for our next episode. Until then, enjoy making it happen.